My boyfriend sold my laptop pawn shop, gave me the tape. It started as a small absence. The kind you notice when you're tired and think maybe you misplaced something. My laptop wasn't on the desk. Not under the bed. Not in the backpack. I swore I left by the door. At first I told myself it was my own scatterbrained fault. But deep down, my stomach knew better. That laptop wasn't just metal and keys. It was my whole world. My grad papers, freelance projects, half-written stories, tax documents. I'd spent nights pouring into it, pouring coffee over it too, and defending it with the kind of loyalty people usually save for pets. Losing it wasn't an option. I asked Josh, my boyfriend of a year, if he'd seen it. He didn't even look up from his phone. You probably left it at the library again. His tone was casual, almost bored. But I hadn't been to the library in a week. My pulse stuttered. No, it was here, on my desk. He shrugged, scrolled. Then maybe your roommate borrowed it. My roommate was out of town. I knew it. He knew it too. Something about the way his thumb sped up on the screen made me press harder. Josh, are you sure you haven't touched it? He sighed, finally met my eyes but only for a flicker. Why would I want your old laptop? That should have reassured me. Instead, it felt rehearsed. For 2 days I searched. I called the coffee shop. I checked lost and found. I even asked my neighbor if I'd accidentally left it in the laundry room. Nothing. The missing space on my desk grew louder every time I walked in. On the third day, the truth arrived in a thin slip of paper. It was stuffed into the side pocket of Josh's hoodie, the one he'd thrown on the couch. I'd reached for it only because the TV remote slipped under it. But when I pulled the fabric, something crinkled. I tugged out a folded receipt. The heading made my skin prickle. Silver Star Pawn Shop. My name wasn't there. His was. Josh. The date, 2 days ago. The item description, Apple MacBook Air 13, silver. My breath vanished. I unfolded it again, as if more space would change the words. The receipt glared back, stamped paid in cash. I don't remember standing. I just remember Josh's voice from the kitchen. Babe, you want pizza tonight? Or then he saw the paper in my hand. His face froze mid-smile. My voice shook but didn't rise. He blinked, stammered. It's nothing. Just helping a friend. A friend named Josh. I snapped. Who signed his own name? On my laptop? Silence. Then the excuse came, thin as tissue. I was gonna get it back. I just needed some quick cash. You weren't using it that night. My heart pounded so hard I thought he could see it. You sold my laptop. No, pawned it, he corrected, as if the verb softened the betrayal. It's temporary. Chill. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Chill. My work, my files, my life, chill. He raised his hands. Don't make this a big deal, I'll get it back next paycheck. But trust doesn't come back on payday. I left the apartment before my hands could shake into fists. The receipt burned in my pocket, leading me like a map. The pawn shop wasn't far, 3 blocks over, neon sign buzzing like a fly in the night. Inside, the place smelled of old leather and desperation. The man behind the counter looked up, tired but wary. I need to ask about an item, I said, sliding the receipt forward. He adjusted his glasses, read. Yep, we got that in 2 days ago. Belongs to Nerd Josh? No, I said firmly. It's mine. He stole it. His brows lifted. Do you have proof? Yes. I dug out my ID, showed the wallpaper photo on my phone. Me holding the same laptop. Stickers lined like a signature. That's mine. He studied, then nodded slowly. Well, technically it's under his name now. But he turned to the side, tapped a button on a monitor. We've got cameras. We always record transactions. Want to see? My throat tightened. Yes. He rewound footage. There was Josh, clear as day, sliding my laptop across the counter with a cocky grin. There was his signature on the logbook. There was him pocketing the cash, smirking like he'd pulled off a magic trick. I gripped the counter, nails digging into wood. The clerk looked at me, sympathy softening his eyes. We can make you a copy for the police if you want. I nodded. Words had run out. I walked out with a USB drive heavier than stone. Proof in pixels. Betrayal in 1080p. That night, I didn't go home. I didn't answer Josh's texts. I sat in my car, laptopless, staring at the glowing city and realizing something. I hadn't lost a laptop. I'd lost something far more valuable, and I wasn't taking it back. I didn't sleep that night. The USB drive sat in the cup holder like a loaded weapon. Every time I glanced at it, my chest burned with equal parts rage and disbelief. How do you process betrayal when it's so casual, so deliberate, so smugly recorded? By morning, Josh was spamming my phone. Babe, let's talk. It was just a mistake. You're blowing this up for no reason. No reason? My laptop was in a pawn shop because of him. My hands trembled as I typed back one word. Meet. We met at a diner halfway between his apartment and the pawn shop. Neutral ground, public place. Because frankly, I didn't trust myself not to scream. He slid into the booth with fake casual energy. All smiles. Hey, gorgeous. You look tired. Rough night. I stared. You pawned my laptop. His smile faltered, then returned, thinner. I told you I'll get it back. I pulled out the USB, set it on the table between us. I saw the tape. His face drained color. His lips parted, then closed. What tape? The pawn shop cameras. They record everything. And they gave me a copy. Silence stretched, filled only by the clink of cutlery from the next booth. Josh leaned back, scoffed. So what? Yeah, I pawned it. I needed cash. You'd have done the same if you loved me. That snapped something in me. If I loved you, Josh, love isn't stealing from the person who trusts you. Love isn't lying. Love isn't smiling into a camera while selling their future for beer money. He rolled his eyes. God, you're dramatic. It's just a laptop. No, My voice shook but held firm. It was my life, my thesis, my freelance work, everything I've built. But you wouldn't understand, because you've never built anything. You just take. The waitress arrived with coffee, glanced at us, then retreated fast, probably sensing the storm. Josh leaned forward, lowering his voice. So what's the plan? You gonna call the cops? Ruin my life over a piece of metal? I held up the USB. You ruined it yourself. For a second, I thought he'd reach across the table and grab it. But then his jaw clenched, his hands balled fists under the table, and he sat back instead. You're not gonna find anyone better than me, he muttered. That was the moment. Clarity replaced heartbreak. I stood. Watch me. I left him sitting there, coffee untouched, arrogance finally cracking around the edges. The pawnshop clerk was kind. He agreed to hold the laptop until I returned with the police. The police took the report, copied the footage, and nodded with professional calm. Clear theft, one officer said. We'll take it from here. By the end of the week, I had my laptop back. It felt heavier in my arms, like it had absorbed the weight of everything I'd been through. Stickers still intact, files still safe. But I didn't see it the same way anymore. Josh texted me once more. Hope you're happy. You ruined us. I didn't reply. Because the truth was, he'd ruined himself. Weeks later, I got a call from the pawnshop clerk. His voice held a smile. Thought you'd like to know your boyfriend's band. CEO's orders. Tried to pawn a PlayStation yesterday. Security showed him the door. I laughed. Really laughed for the first time in weeks. In the end, I didn't just get my laptop back. I got my freedom back. Josh thought he'd stolen a machine. What he actually stole was his own chance at being in my life. And honestly, that was worth more than any laptop. Tell me in the comments, would you give someone like Josh a second chance? Or is betrayal like this unforgivable?